it is time for some yummy lore speculations about Janthir Wilds, and there is the potential for spoilers ahead if I am right. Fair warning, my predictions are often wildly inaccurate. But before we begin, hey, I'm Fornex. Welcome to my channel. Pull up a chair, make yourself at home, and if you find anything of merit herein, please press my buttons below. So if you are comfortable, let us begin at the end of Secrets of the Obscure, when we saw the Eye of Janthir. And I think that this was not just a hint at the directionality of the next expansion for anyone who happened to notice it during that story moment. I did not. But I think that it has interesting consequences for the story. So it's very specifically was in the Midnight King's throne room, which indicates to me at least that there could be some manipulation of Eparch into his more monstrous state, something driving him to consume his compatriots in order to protect them, because his character didn't quite fit with the narrative that was being told, a monstrous being who is consuming all, and he was very polite about it, conciliatory with Pather. He was distraught at the loss of his partner. He doesn't fit the bill for an insane, maniacal ruler necessarily. However, if the Mursaat, for centuries, for millennia, had been pulling his strings from the shadows, it is arguable that his actions were not his fault. He's a foil, he's a tool for the real villains, the Mursaat. Because also in Soto, we discovered, story spoilers obviously ahead, that the Mursaat originally came from Naos. So this is their home realm, it would seem. And perhaps the destruction of the Cryptus was a covert, subversive attempt, a Machiavellian attempt to remove the Cryptus from the board so that the Mursaat could return to Naos. I like that idea. The Mursaat are extinct now on Tyria, but they are a civilization which spans the multiverse of the myths, and therefore I think it is almost certain that we're going to be seeing some Mursaat influence in the story, with possibly a side order of Cryptus as well. I don't think Pather's story ends with her ascent to the throne. There is an underlying Mursaat threat which we are going to be uncovering in consort with the Astral Ward and the Wizard's Court. And of course this ties in Isgaran, the last seer. The war with the seers is something of myth and legend. It was never played through even in the original campaigns, but it was hinted at. Players interact with a seer in the original Prophecies campaign. So this storyline, this narrative thread has been woven for a couple of decades. So could we get to know more about Isgaran in this installment, in this expansion? Could we get to know what happened, why the seers betrayed the Mursaat, and then the Mursaat turned on them and destroyed them almost to a man? And could we discover who Isgaran really is? There's hints that he is king, the ruler of the seers, and although it is explicitly said, his response is interesting. He does not want that title, he shunned it. He was very uncomfortable when Pather shot that line across his bow. So I'm interested to see Isgaran as a character develop. I enjoyed his curmudgeon-y machinations. I enjoyed that he was very much, in terms of the Cryptus, the phrase, "Thou shalt not kill, but needs not strive officiously to keep alive," that very much rings true with him. Taking the Cryptus off the board was always what he wanted, whether it be by their extinction or by more political means. Either way, he would have been perfectly happy with the state of affairs. So I like Isgaran, I like his ruthlessness. He's very much like a politician who deals in international politics, which is just no morality, all power plays. And that's very much who he is. So I think we could see the expansion of his story. I think we could see more of the Cryptus, and specifically Pather, the uncovering the machinations of the Mursaat in the cannibalization of the Cryptus people. The Titans. They are a confirmed enemy, and all the associations that come with that. So if you want to know about the Flameseeker prophecies, about the Door of Kamali, about the God of Secrets, underwater Abaddon, and the war amongst the true gods, then click this video here. I think it is entirely possible that we are going to get some echoes of Abaddon. I would like it if they actually brought him back in some capacity. We saw with Balthazar that when an old god is stripped of their power, they kind of almost revert to the form that they held before. I'm wondering what species Abaddon was. Could he in fact have been a Cryptus? Or maybe even a Mursaat? We don't know. Anyway, that would be fun to find out that Abaddon was really a Mursaat or a Cryptus all along. That would be a nice bow on the narrative. So, we have the Titans. They are created in the forge of failed creations, in the realms of torment. We could see Menzies. We could see the Onai again because of the Shadow Army, which is associated with Menzies. And Wooden Potatoes has made countless videos on these topics, linked to his channel below, Menzies being Balthazar's brother, who we killed. So, I mean, there's blood in the water there, certainly. And if they wanted to introduce an interesting side tangent to swipe us off our feet, well, Menzies coming to avenge his brother's death would certainly be interesting. Perhaps even commanding an army of titans to eliminate us. That would be pretty cool. But we also have the White Mantle. Obviously, it all draws from the Mursaat being the unseen ones who the humans made a deal with in order to stop a Char invasion, the Char invasion that claimed all the other human realms, including Or. Well, I mean, Or was on the verge of falling to the Char when other things happen. Flameseeker prophecy videos here, but I wonder what we will find, because we know that Caudicus went to the Janthir Isles. We know that he was pursued by Canach on the instructions of Countess Anet, the head of the Shining Blade, who are the protectors of the realm, of the human realm, and they stood in opposition to the White Mantle and their human sacrifices at the Bloodstones. And if you want to know the story of the raids, and you've never played through the raids, here again, videos telling all the raids story in a very RP way, if you hope you enjoy that. And so we have these threads as well, and I think that we will see Valette as well. So Lady Wee, Mr. Wee, and Valette, who was there at the death of Caudicus, she was stood by his side, she aided him, and she was taken, as Canach was, under the wing of Countess Anet as recompense for all the harm that she had done in the service of the White Mantle and Caudicus indeed. So yes, I think that we will see Valette branching out of her story. Could we see Canach? Well, he chased Caudicus into the Janthir Wilds. Then I think that it would not be unreasonable for us to tap that resource, no pun intended, and really get to know Canach again and what he's been doing in our absence. Do I think that we will see other members of the team? Maybe Jury and Cass. They are very much tied into the crown, into that political narrative. She was the representative that went to Janthir to speak with the Empress. She represents the crown in that capacity. So it is entirely possible that Cass and Jury's narrative could go forward. It would be wonderful if we got a beautiful wedding taking advantage of that fantastic place in Lion's Art, built for weddings. That would be amazing. Do I think we'll see Taimi and Bram? Not necessarily, although with the Coden connection to the Norn, we could discover whether the Norn really are a lost race of Coden. That would be amazing. And talking of Coden, I think that we are going to finally meet Waking Sorrow, that is the partner and love interest of Dagda, who left the Wizard's Court. Somewhat of a kerfuffle about that. Many feathers are ruffled, especially Isgaren's, and it would be interesting to understand how and why she left the Wizard's Court, if it's possible to really leave the Wizard's Court. Are they allowed to leave alive? Isgaren is ruthless enough for that not to be the case. That would be interesting if we instead found a dead Waking Sorrow at the hands of Isgaren. That would be something indeed. However, I think it's more likely that she has gone off on her own because of the process, because of the lost memories, because of Isgaren's style of governance, which is ruthless and amoral rather than immoral. really hoping that we will see her, really hoping we're going to get some good interactions between her and Dagda. But I am casting a wide net, and ArenaNet have recently discovered the narrative limits of their ability to tell a good story with the resources that they have. So I imagine that we might get one or two of these bigger narrative threads, but I'm just kind of waxing rhapsodic, as it were. So we have the Mursaat. We have the continuation of Isgaren's story. We have the continuation of the Mursaat's story. We have the possible reintroduction of Canach. We have the possible reintroduction of Waking Sorrow, Lady Wee, the possible reintroduction of the Shining Blade, lest we forget Livia as well. In the prologue to Soto, she is being tasked by the Queen, and she has extensive experience with the White Mantle. She has extensive experience with the Mursaat. So if she doesn't play a major role as well, I will be astonished. I should have mentioned her earlier, but this is off the top of my head, so you'll have to forgive me. I'm having a stream of consciousness video today. I hope you enjoy. Let me know with a like and dislike button. You can't see it, but I can. Every dislike breaks my soul a little bit, but you must do what you must do. And finally, I'm wondering myself where the character development for the commander, for the Wayfinder goes. We seem to have embedded ourselves in the court. We seem to be their agent in the world now, and I feel like Isgaren and the Astral Ward and the Wizard's Court are going to be our narrative vehicle going forward. And they can drive us wherever they wish. They have access to the vastness of the multiverse of the mists. They have access to every and any part of Tyria that the writers want to take us, and there could be any narrative reason that Isgaren wants to have a look. We have seen his very deeply, profoundly dubious experiments, so him keeping an eye on all cultures and civilizations on the planet that I think he sees as his, him being rather than dictator but guardian. And so I think that this is going to be, at least for the next 2 or 3 expansions, the narrative vehicle. Where they jump off from there, I don't know. Maybe it'll be jumping off into Guild Wars 3, which I would be perfectly happy with. I am in love with the culture and the history and the story, but I'm not so attached to any one game that I'm not willing to dive into another iteration of the world. I mean, I was overjoyed when Guild Wars 2 was announced, and I've been playing the original campaigns for years. So when it comes to gaming, honestly, I'm a cheap date. But I would be interested to know where you think our character development is going. We're now a Wayfinder. We seem to have dealt somewhat with our trauma. We seem to have faced our fears in some capacity. But we do find ourselves alone. Our comrades have all seemed to pull away from us. They've all got their own lives. I don't really feel like that's changed from the end of Dragons or the prologue of Soto, where nobody was there to take our call. We were alone and we were desperate to find the next adventure because we don't have a life outside this. And perhaps this is where the homestead comes in. Perhaps the narrative will be spun around the homestead that gives us a place to build, to put down some roots, to have a steadier side to our lives that is not, all daring do. And I really hope that they pull it off, because I absolutely adore the cozy gaming of building your own home and making it beautiful or interesting, or making it into a puzzle box like some players want to do. And if we are using basically the tech that we have with the guild hall, people are going to be able to create anything and everything that they want to. It'll be wild and wonderful, and I hope that the devs have enough courage to just let the players go wild. I think they will. I must admit that I have been playing a lot of Palia, and they have done the housing system beautifully, absolutely beautifully. You can get lost in it for hours on end, and I have made Palatial gorgeous place. I'll probably post a video about Palia and my adventures there. I'm making an enchanted forest home. I think that may be fun. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I'm hoping that we're going to have lots of diversity of narrative. I'm hoping that it's going to be fun and light and beautiful. Soto in many aspects was very beautiful, but once we got to Naos, it was quite visually taxing to be in that environment for such an extended period of time. So I'm hoping that we're going to have more engaging environments with the traditional great on-map narrative storytelling that has been Guild Wars' trademark for years, which kind of fell off as they stumbled with Naos, and I'm hoping that they found their footing with Janthir Wilds again, and that we will have a rip-roaring expansion, and it will be the true continuation of the opening salvo of Soto, which was amazing. And I hope that they can keep that high standard and that engagement and that drama and that fun going into Janthir Wilds. But let me know your thoughts below. Are you looking forward to Janthir Wilds? Do you think any of my speculations, my predictions will come true? Let me know what you want to see in Janthir Wilds, what characters you are hoping we're going to return, which ones you hope are taking a extended sabbatical somewhere else in the world. Let me know below, and much love and many hugs to my fantastic patrons who support me over on Patreon. Subscribe star, you can buy me a coffee if you like, links down below, and I could not keep the lights on without them. They allow me to be a disabled content creator with an unpredictable release schedule and still be able to keep going, so I appreciate them enormously. Thank you so much. And of course I want to thank Guild Wars 2 ArenaNet for their love and support. I even got a mention in the game if you can find it. Look for Astral Herald. That was so sweet of them, I couldn't believe it. And they also show me love through their partner program, with links below to the Janthir Wilds and all their other expansions. Using any of the links directly supports the channel, directly supports me, but costs you not a penny more, thanks to their generosity. Thank you all again. But we have come to the end, so until we meet again, please stay safe, stay awesome, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.